Hello everybody, my name is Cade Olaf and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to go over step by step how you can buy a house. I'd like to mention right off the bat that you may be able to buy a house even if you're young like me. I believe there's a misconception when it comes to home ownership. People think you need to have the right job or that you need to put 20% down to be able to afford a home. But in this video, I will clear these misconceptions and give you real world knowledge in hopes that you may understand that buying a home actually may be an option for you. Now, you may be wondering, well, Cade doesn't even own a home, so how does he even know what he's talking about? As I've mentioned in my channel before, I am a licensed real estate agent and I have personally helped people throughout the home buying process. So I do have an understanding of how the process works and what to specifically look for when buying a house. One of the main things that you want to look for when buying a house is that subscribe button. If you enjoy the content, please consider subscribing to the channel and liking this video because ultimately it helps the channel grow. So with that being said, let's jump into the first step of buying a house. The first step that you must take is to meet with a lender and get pre-qualified. Now, for those of you who don't know what a lender is a person or organization who lends money. So some of your traditional mortgage lenders or your home lenders are Quicken Loans, Navy Federal, and Guaranteed Rate. You can also obtain mortgage financing through your traditional banks like Wells Fargo and Chase. I would recommend getting referrals from family and friends to see who they use to obtain financing. But know that when you meet with lenders, you are not just restricted to one. Finding a lender to help you is like getting quotes from different painters to paint your house. Each organization or lender that you talk to will have different programs available. So make sure and shop around with different lending institutions. That way you can borrow your money at the cheapest price. It'd be a shame to choose the first lender that you find, end up buying a house, and then realize that you could have gotten a better deal with someone else. The truth is that lending programs and interest rates are always changing. So make sure to do your due diligence and find the best lender that you can. When you meet with a lender, they're going to need some documentation from you in order to find out how much money you can afford to borrow. With this being said, I recommend that you have your past 2 years tax returns, your past 2 months bank statements, your past 2 months pay stubs, and money in the bank. Take note that the lender will also do a full credit check on you as well. If you go to meet lenders with all of this documentation, chances are you're going to speed up the process of getting pre-qualified. Getting pre-qualified simply means that a lender has decided you may be approved for a loan up to a certain amount. It does not mean that you have been approved for a loan, so don't get too excited. Now, if you do meet with a lender and you figure out that you're not able to afford a house at that time, the lender will then give you advice on how you can take the next steps in order to get pre-qualified. Some of the reasons you may not qualify can include having a low credit score or not enough work history. But if you don't obtain a pre-qualification from the lender, figure out what it is you need to work on and do it as quickly as possible. The second step that you must take is to meet with a real estate agent. Nowadays, it seems like everybody and their mother is a real estate agent, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem finding one. The problem lies with finding a good agent. Being an agent myself, I have personally endured the costs of dealing with some pretty shady agents. There are agents out there who do not have your best interest at heart and are just looking to get a commission check. So as a buyer, I would recommend that you get referrals from your friends and family to see what agent they use and whether or not they like them. But know that you don't always have to use those referrals. Here's how you find a great agent. You go to your friends or family's referrals and you ask them for their most recent clients' information. You call those clients and you tell them you're prospecting a couple of different agents in the area and you'd like to know how well the agent they used was. Those recent clients will not lie to you. They will tell you whether or not the agent they used was good at their job. And for those of you who are wondering, why should I even use an agent when I can just go buy a house myself? I'm not just saying this because I'm an agent. Please don't do it. Understanding the home buying process has taken me 2 years to figure out, and I still don't know everything about it. If you were to try and do it yourself, there is simply too much paperwork and legal issues that you would have to try and navigate. And take note that as a buyer, using an agent comes at no cost to you. The seller of the home for which you purchase is responsible for the payment of the agent that you use. For instance, say I, Cade Olaf, went and represented somebody as a listing agent, so I listed listed their home for sale. Between the seller and I, we would agree to a certain percentage of the selling price the seller will pay me when the house sells. When someone buys the home, I will then split my commission with the agent representing the buyer in the transaction. So with that being said, know that as a buyer, using an agent comes at no cost to you and saves you a lot of headache. The third step that you must take is to go look at houses. This can be the most fun yet most depressing part of the home buying process. Why can it be the most depressing part of the home buying process, you may ask? It only becomes depressing if you switch step 1 with step 2. Too often do people get excited to buy a home, and so they start looking at properties with an agent right away. However, they don't know how much house they can actually afford. So the agent shows them the nicest house in the nicest neighborhood because the agent didn't know that their clients didn't meet with the lender to get pre-qualified yet. Now the clients are upset because they just fell in love with the nicest house just to find out that they can't afford it. You know you have a good agent when they send you to a lender first. Before going to look at houses, tell your agent your must-haves in a home. For instance, if you had a large family and you needed a 5-bedroom home, that's a must-have. Make sure that your agent knows all your must-haves, that way you don't waste their time and they don't waste yours. Real estate is a game of speed, so the quicker you find a home, the higher the chance that you'll get your offer accepted. So once you find the home and your offer is accepted, we can now move on to step number 4. The fourth step that you must take is your inspection period. This means that you, the buyer, have at least 10 to 14 days to perform inspections on the property. Now, you yourself aren't actually going to be going to the house and inspecting the house for termites. You will hire different inspectors to perform different inspections that you want. These inspections can range anywhere from a roofing inspection to an HVAC inspection to a termite inspection. This is a chance for you, the buyer, to decide what inspections you want done. If you have no idea what inspectors are out there, chances are your agent will have a few recommendations. And know that the inspection period is crucial to a real estate transaction. You as a buyer want to know what's wrong with the house before you buy it. If you find things wrong with the house, don't panic. There is a document you will submit called a BINSR, which stands for Buyer's Inspection and Seller's Response. This document notifies the seller of the inspections that you've done and the requests of repairs that you would like to be made on the home. Now, there are many ways to go about writing a BINSR, and it really depends on the house that you're buying, so make sure to refer to your agent throughout this whole process. Once you submit the BINSR to the seller, it is now the seller's turn to respond with what they will fix, or if they just agree to everything that you've asked for. If they respond back at that point, you have a decision to make as a buyer. You can either agree to what they agree to fix, or you can just cancel the whole entire contract. There is no other option if you get to that point. But once the BINSR is complete and both parties have signed, it should be smooth sailing from there on out. And the fifth step that you must take to purchasing your home is closing day. You will set up a closing day with your agent to sign all the final paperwork and to see how all the monies in the transaction will be dispersed. This process is done using an escrow company. They are a neutral third party who holds all the money during the transaction, and they are the last step in the home buying process. Shortly after every party in the transaction has signed all the final documents, you should get a call from your agent telling you that you have recorded. This means that the deed of the home has now been filed with the county and it is now your home. Your agent will come by with the final set of keys, and at that point you can move into the home. So that is the home buying process in a nutshell and what you can expect when buying a home. Now, of course, that's just in a nutshell, so take note that throughout the entire process you are going to be in constant communication with your realtor, signing documents and asking questions. Just know that it takes work and it takes money to buy or even sell a home. My biggest piece of advice for you watching is to use professionals in whatever you do. When going through the biggest transaction of your life, you want to make sure that you're covered legally and that you don't have to do all the work by yourself. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you genuinely like the content. Also, make sure to tap the notification bell when you subscribe, that way you don't miss out on any of my new videos. And as always, I'm Kate Olaf, and I'll see you in the next one.